Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this YouTube channel. We really appreciate you being connected today to our life, our journey.
Our truth.
Every week, we thank God for all of you who come into this space and who become a part of this community. And it means a lot to us, and we really appreciate it. So we want to make sure you like, comment,
and share and subscribe.
Make sure you do that because we want to build this community to keep bringing you content every week that can bless your life. Now, also, make sure you follow Dr. Steph. Do it now. This Dr. Steph Walker. She got it going on. I would say so.
Thank you.
Follow me at Joseph Walker 3 out there on Instagram. And also make sure that you, for books and for merch, all that cool stuff we have out there, go to josephwalker3.org. And we hope that you would do that. It would be a tremendous blessing if you did. We appreciate it in advance. Of course, we want to thank God for each one of you today. And we want to appreciate just the opportunity to continue to pour into you. So thank you for tuning in on this particular episode, which we are really excited about because we're going to be talking about how to really get multiple streams of income
and why is that so important?
Yeah, why is it more important to do it? So I think it's important to talk about this because it's really a question of purpose. And I want to lay this out at the foundation. I tell people all the time that God never gives us a purpose, an assignment that is one-dimensional. So God places a gift in us. The Bible says in the book of 1 Corinthians that we have this treasure in earthen vessel, right? We have this treasure. So God places this treasure in us. And what makes this important is that God gives us a gift, and then God gives us an assignment that's tied to that gift, and then God anoints that assignment. He anoints us for that assignment. But when God gives us gifts, the gift is never one-dimensional. So whatever we do should never be just singularly focused on one thing, but there are multiple expressions of it. And the reason why that's important is because often what we monetize has to be viewed the same way. That out of this one thing you do, how do you create multiple streams? The book of Ecclesiastes says, cast your bread upon many waters. Diversify yourself. The preacher, the wisdom in that literature is so powerful. And so often we just think about the singular thing we do is go to work every day, get a paycheck, and we neglect the various creative gifts that God has given to us. And this conversation is about the value and the importance of creating multiple streams. And I want to start out by saying you can't create multiple streams until you're faithful over the mainstream.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can be on a job and you be trifling, trying to do all these other ventures. You get it? Not being faithful to the thing that's feeding you, taking care of you.
Paying your rent.
Yeah.
Paying your mortgage.
I got to miss 2 days here. I got to do this and do that. So you have to learn, the Bible even says, be faithful over a few things, and he'll make you rule over much. So how can I be a good steward over the one stream so that I can then branch out and then let that one stream build me to the next stream?
It's almost like what you're saying is making sure that you're operating in excellence no matter what you're touching, right? And you've met those people where they say, oh my gosh, it seems like everything that she touches or he touches turns to gold. Well, the reason is because they're faithful in whatever that thing is that God puts in front of them.
Facts.
And then when you're able to be faithful with the one thing that God has in front of you, then he will open doors because you're showing yourself to be faithful and dedicated and a good steward of whatever it is he puts in front of you. And so thereby allowing him to trust you with more. He can't trust you with more if he can't trust you with little that's in front of you. Right?
That's so true. That's so true, right? And so I think when you think about multiple streams now, it comes to, okay, then how do I put myself in a place of diversification? How do I then look at my gift and look at the things that I'm doing and say, how can I take this one thing I do and I can monetize it in different spaces to create various streams? So let's, for example, say a person who says, I want to be a public speaker. What I often say to people when I mentor them, and I know you say the same thing, that do that well. you're a public speaker, right? You promote that, you put it out there, social media, you create opportunities. But you're a public speaker, you do that from that platform, and then it's monetized. People then give you, you know,
Honorariums.
honorariums or etc. for speaking. What have you left on the table, though? Ask yourself, when you walk away from that venue, what have you left on the table? I'll tell you what you left. Content.
Yep. I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Content is a whole nother stream. So not only do you speak, but you should be signing books. You should have another stream. So now I have my books, my speaking. Watch how the streams happen. So because I speak well, my platforms get larger. More people come to hear me speak. I sell more books.
And if it's not books, some kind of content,
Well,
whether it be,
workshops.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, workshops I do, or whatever. And then that can be a whole merch line, another form of stream
terms
of
of
income.
other resources that you can
Resources.
provide.
Yeah, I can provide you with things that can help you in that. And then I could also provide, opportunities for, seminars, symposiums, a variety of things. So that's just one example of how to take one thing you do well and you monetize. So, for example, you have a person sitting there and says, well, I own a business and maybe I own a salon. So yeah, I do hair, I can do that. But in my salon, what else do I have a stream toward? Product line, right? I may have a healthy product line. I may do that. I may have my own show. I may have my own, seminars where I train people
That's what I was
on
gonna
the
say,
unique
teaching or
things I
training.
do, teaching that I do on various techniques, right? Because if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Well, and another way of establishing an additional stream is to hire other people
Yeah.
and be able to take a commission from the work that they're doing for
There it
you.
is.
And thereby you're multiplying yourself. So let's say if you have the hair salon, giving up a few booths to people
Yeah.
in that hair salon. Let's say that you are a public speaker, identifying young people that you can train so that you can create sort of a group or a firm where you go out to coach or
Yeah.
what have you. And because they're a part of your firm, you're receiving commissions based on what the clients that you guys are bringing in
That's
together or what have you. And so this is so important and critical. And I think, especially in this day and age, COVID truly taught us the need to diversify your income flow, because here today, gone tomorrow. If you lose your voice, what are you going to do if you're a public speaker? If you're in an accident and you break an arm, what are you going to do if you're a hairdresser? The whole world shut down during COVID and people couldn't get into their normal everyday back and forth 9 to 5 job. What were people then forced to do? They were forced to be creative to figure out additional ways to bring in income. And I think nowadays it's almost like a PTSD, almost like a post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
Like now it's important to, I was going to say people are afraid just to have one stream of income, but I don't think that that's an unhealthy perspective. I think that the fear factor is never good to be in, to operate in fear, but it's a fear factor that kind of propelled people to step out of their comfort zones in order to establish and to dig deep about what other skills or
good.
gifts that they had that they were forced to use. And now people don't look at you strange when you're hyphenated, when you say, well, I do this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Before it was like you don't have focus, you need to get it together. And now it's like, oh, you're smart. And
Yeah.
I would argue that you're smart to be able to monetize the gifts and things that God has given you.
Sometimes people have a level of guilt about that, right? Like maybe I shouldn't be focused on this or that or that. And here you are with a great idea, and you watching somebody win with your idea.
With your idea.
With your idea, you're like, I should have done that. I should have did that
5 years ago, and they just came out yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think one of these I tell people all the time is this: is very important that you are born to solve a problem. And when you're looking for that thing to create another stream, look for a problem that you can solve. Find ways in which you can solve that problem. Like there's certain things like that you do very well. Like this one right here, man. When you ever want to have a party, a high level party, like you want to like do it. This one right here, she may not have much time to do it, but let me tell you, if she ever, let me tell you
That's
something.
so interesting.
Let me tell
Yes,
you
because
something.
that's one thing that people don't know
Oh
about
my
me.
God.
Like amazing party
I
planner.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
detail. I mean, what
It's a passion of mine. I love to do it, but I don't have
the
time. So
time
I
to do
only
it.
do things. I only do it for family.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing. But I mean, think about that. Somebody who makes cakes
Mm-hmm.
and who can make these cakes,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't have. Sometimes it's about
Yeah.
putting yourself in a place where you can find partnerships,
Yeah.
build a team of people that can help you do this well.
Yes.
My sister in Louisiana can make bowls out of this world, hair bowls. I mean, you have all these gifts, but it's about really aligning yourself with the resources and people
Mm-hmm.
that can help you position that. Sometimes you don't have the time, may not have the money, but there are people that will come alongside your idea, venture capitalists, other people that'll say, I see, I want to invest in that. I want to see you win. I take a share of that. That's the whole Shark Tank thing, right? I mean, people
Mm-hmm.
want to come alongside great things. And I think from a value perspective, this is very important to us to share with you. Um, you will always win in multiple streams if you don't chase the paper, you chase the purpose.
Yes. Amen.
You
Amen.
will always win if you don't chase the paper, but chase the purpose. If you're chasing the paper, you're gonna have short-term success. You're
Mm-hmm.
always all over the place. It's a money grab. Everything you do is a money grab. But if you're going after purpose and
Mm-hmm.
you're solving problems and you're bringing content and you're bringing real solutions to things in the
Mm-hmm.
earth, people will then do that because I believe God funds purpose.
Yeah, people, no one cares what you're selling until they know that you care. I say that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And when they understand that you are purpose driven and that you're focused on their transformation and their outcome, then they're willing to make that investment in you. Because, I mean, the reality in today's world, whatever you're thinking about doing, probably 10 or 20 or 500 other people are probably
Yeah.
already doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The question is, how can you make it unique to you? And you're making it unique by bringing your personality to it, bringing your creativity to it, and bringing your whole self to it, right? You might be able to do this, but you can't do it my way.
Yeah.
And when your clientele recognize or values the way that you interact with them, the way that you make them feel like the only person in the room, the way that you do things in excellence, then it's easy to choose between person A and person B
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
operating at such a high level.
Yeah.
And so going back to, operating in excellence, bringing your full self to the table, but then again, making sure that your focus is on the end result, which is transformation and not just transaction.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm going to give you an assignment. All right, I'm going to give you an assignment. I'm going to tell you a biblical story and tell you why. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to, while you're watching this, I want you to take out some paper, use your phone, and I want you to write down what is it that you currently do, whatever it is. What is it that you currently do? Write that down. This is what I do right now. Now, what you do might not be what you want to do, but what is it that pays the bills? What is it that I do? And then I want you to write down, watch this, 4 things that you do very well. 4 things that you do very well. I do this well. I'm a communicator.
Skill sets.
Skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
I do this very well, right? Okay? I want you to write those 4 things down that you do very well. And from the thing that you do and the things that you do well, I want you to begin to draw a line, and I want you to begin to write down from what I do to things I do well. I want you to begin to draw a line on what is it that I could create to make the thing I do well spin off from the thing I do. See where this is going? I do this well. Everything you do well, you do here. But if you do it very well, there's a way in which it can spin off and create an answer to a problem out there.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I gave you 4 things to think about, because when God set up the perfect place in the beginning of time, it was called Eden. In the Garden of Eden, which was a place of prosperity and peace and purpose, God put strategically in the garden 4 tributaries, 4 rivers that flowed into the Garden of Eden. They represent 4 streams. I believe that it is God's will for us to have multiple streams,
Feeding.
always. And I think that when the gifts of God are awakened in us and we begin to realize what we're good at, I believe that out of that, the creative genius, the holy imagination can be inspired, and then we can create, because the creative act of God is creating something where nothing was.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. The only thing that I would add is that sometimes, and this again is just sort of the reality of the world that we live in, sometimes people are working jobs or in careers that they're not passionate about.
Yeah.
And so when he says you're doing this, but identify the 3 or 4, the 4 things that you're really good at, sometimes these 3 or 4 things that you're really good at and that you're really passionate about have nothing to do with what
Yeah.
you're currently
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
right? This is an act that pays bills. This is purpose.
Yeah.
This is passion over here.
Yeah.
And so being able to identify what you can
good.
build out of these things is
Yeah.
critical
Yeah.
for your emotional, mental mindset, your spirituality,
Right.
in terms of feeling like you're operating in purpose and that you're growing and you're doing things that God wants you to do based on the gifts that he put inside of you. But it's so important. Don't forego this thing over here.
Yeah.
Right? Some people want to chase these things and dump this thing to the side when this is the thing that's paying the bills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be foolish. God is a God of order. So yes, follow these rivers, build these streams such that you can cut back. Maybe you're doing this 100%. Now you're doing it 75%.
That's
Now you're
so
doing it
important.
50%. Now you're doing it 25%. So that when you do transition, you're not transitioning from something to nothing, right? Even you can be passionate about it, but if it's not feeding you, if it's not producing income, what are you going to do? How are you going to eat? Like, again, God's a God of order. You got to use wisdom. And so, operating in such a way where you're moving step by step to decrease this area as you're increasing these areas over here, I think is critical. And they don't always have to do with one another. Sometimes we're just doing something to pay the bills,
Yeah.
which I would commend you for,
Yeah.
because some people would be like, well, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy that. I'm not passionate about it, so I'm not going to do anything at all. Well, that's not the answer either. You got to go to work. You got to do something that's productive to feed your income, to feed your lifestyle. But in the meanwhile, still searching and identifying those things that you're passionate about to go on to create these multiple streams of income. Because I can tell you from experience, once you're able to identify those things that you're passionate about and you're able to build something from that, even though you're probably doing more and working harder, it doesn't feel like it,
That's
because
right.
it's something
That's right.
that you
So
actually
true.
enjoy.
So true. Yeah.
And so those are the things that I would focus on. Like, what would you do for free? Do it and then monetize it. Like, what gets you up in the morning? What stirs your spirit? What are you passionate about? What is something that you can do every day of the week, and even be willing to do on the weekends if you had some free time to do it on the weekends?
Yeah.
Chase those things and identify what can you do to monetize those things, because those are the things that will give you life.
I mean, that's so important, and particularly when you talk about the timing, because some people get so, ambitious, and you get ahead of God, and you're like, I'm just gonna quit my job and figure it out.
God told me to jump. No, he didn't.
No,
he
no, no,
didn't.
no, 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 no,
No,
no,
he didn't.
don't do it. Don't quit that job right now. What you do is you take your time and develop a strategy, and each one feeds the other. Each one feeds the other. And
Don't mistake God planting seeds in your spirit for him telling you to jump without a parachute. There's a big difference. When he's planting seeds, but his expectation is that you're going to walk it out. You're going to seek his face. You're going to, create a plan, put it down, make it plain, go through the proper steps and channels in order to build this thing appropriately, in a spirit of excellence. He's not telling you, I'm telling you this today, jump off the boat without a sail. He's not telling you jump out the boat without a floaty.
Yeah.
He's just telling you, hey, this is the direction that you're probably going to end up heading in. And so I need you to do your due diligence to figure out the next steps to move forward and figure out how you can make this thing happen in due time,
So true.
in due season.
Yeah, that's so true. In all of us, there are these extraordinary gifts,
Yeah.
and there are these opportunities out there. And I think
Yes.
that
Yes.
when you recognize the opportunity, you have to move in a place where you say, okay, give me a
Yeah.
strategy, God,
Yes.
to move at the right time in
Yes.
order that I might fulfill this and walk into this place. There are people who are monetizing. There are people who are, man, I've seen 18, 19-year-olds who are monetizing multi-million dollar situations because they found a problem and solved it, and they're consistent. And I think one of the things that I would say that consistency is the key to your success. Anything you're trying to build, any platform, anything you're trying to do, consistency. If you're putting out books, you have to be consistent. If you are doing content online, you have to be consistent. If you're building a brand, you have to be consistent. And one of the things that messes people up is that you're not consistent. You fall off in these big gaps of time and people lose interest in it. But you have to demonstrate a level of passion and you have to be energized. And that's what we're talking about. When it's of God, it doesn't feel like work. It's just a passion. We get excited about what we're doing because we know we're making a difference. At the end of the day, if you're making a difference, even a positive footprint in the earth, God will bless that. Every single time that God will bless that because it is always about blessing others. That's why I talk about paper and purpose. It's about chase the purpose. The purpose is always about blessing people. God will always allow you to be blessed as a result of it. When you look at people who are doing extraordinary things in the earth, you look at, for example, you look at people who in the 90s, I would even say 80s and 90s, watch the evolution. I'm going to tell you a story. Watch the evolution of hip hop artists.
Okay.
Hip hop artists, let's just take Queen Latifah. Let's take Jay-Z. Take Jay-Z, Queen Latifah, male, female. Okay. Now, Queen Latifah, it's Eve is the other one. Eve.
Okay.
You take people like that. You watch, they were strong in the hip hop game. They were killing it. Then you watch them move from recording songs to producing albums. Missy Elliott, for example. Then you watch them go from that, producing artists, to cinema. They went to television. Then you watch them go from television
To commercial
to
television.
commercial television. Then you watch them go from that to developing their own clothing lines, cosmetic lines, being the face of major brands. So they realize that this one thing that I've been doing, though I did it well, and I was at the top of my game, everybody ain't gonna always want to listen
It's
to
a
that.
mere jumping.
It's a
Yeah.
mere launching pad
Yes. Yes.
to spin off other things. People forget. When you see Queen Latifah, you see Will Smith. You don't even realize that Will Smith was a rapper.
You forget.
You just think he's an actor. Most people in this generation think Will Smith just does movies. And you go all the way back, like, this dude was a rapper, right? Because they have reinvented themselves and they've created these different streams. And I'm telling you, it's not just in hip hop, but it's in other areas as well. And when you look at that, you begin to say that's the creative genius of multiplying yourself, reintroducing yourself, recreating yourself. Have you ever thought about something? I'm getting ready to drop. This is going to be real deep, babe. This is going to be deep. This is straight from heaven. Recreation and recreation are spelled the same way. That when you recreate, God will give you space to recreate. How about that? How about that? Because multiple streams are allowing you to develop a certain lifestyle where you won't have to work so hard.
Working smarter, not
You're
harder.
working smarter, not harder. And you are creating jobs for people. You are affecting economy. These different streams, you are employing people, providing revenue, and you are blessing people, and you are benefiting from
Changing
that,
people's lives.
changing people's lives, all because of that one seed. One seed. We saw this. We went to a museum in New York. We showed our kids this incredible tree. and it was like this huge tree that had been up since like before the 1700s, and they had cut it and talked about the story of it. And Steph looked at the kids and said, "Y'all see that big old tree that lived through the 1700s to the 1600s, and it got cut down like in what, 2000 and
500
something."
years old.
But yeah, but this tree was multiple hundreds of years old. But it started with a seed,
Teeny tiny
one
little seed.
little seed,
Yeah.
and it lived that long. And you think about like this one little seed. This is what Jesus says: you have a faith the size of a grain of mustard seed. You can say unto this mountain. You could speak to anything. It's in you, but you got to believe that.
Yeah.
And the question is, what's in you, man? What's in you? What is in you? Is it in you?
Yeah.
Right? That's the most recent Gatorade commercial when they have this new ideation of all these different athletes and Michael Jordan's face come on. Is it in you? Is it in you to do this stuff? And I believe it is.
Yeah, I would argue that it is.
I know it is. And while you're watching this, I know some of you are like, man, this is what I needed. I'm writing it down. Well, here's the deal. Don't go for it unless you have a strategy and a plan.
Yeah.
Strategy, a plan, and a partner. What's your strategy? What's your plan? And who you're going to partner with to get it done. You may not have the resources, but my strategy says, this is what I really want to do. My plan says, this is how I'm going to do it. And the partner said, this is who's going to help me get it done. You get it? And when you walk it out like that, great things will happen. So go get it. We had this episode because we want to see you win.
Yes.
We don't want you just to sell us the cupcakes.
Right.
We want you to teach others how to make the cupcakes, have a cupcake book.
Right.
See, that's what our wonderful...
Have your own multiple cupcake factories or locations.
Yeah, we don't want you just to, tell us you got a brand of this.
Brand in Walmart or Target or
we want
Whole Foods.
We want to see you multiple streams of... You're not just coming into Starbucks to buy coffee. People are buying cups. It's a multiple stream operation. So think about from that perspective and let God bless you. Unapologetically, you are on this planet to be a blessing. And the only way you can be a blessing is you've got to be blessed. Hope this has blessed you today. It's been a blessing to share it.
Yeah, I love it.
And we've been inspired. We got some more streams to go get ourselves.
Let's go get
it. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you so much. I hope this has been helpful. And I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Until next time, peace out.